How you doing, sir?
Just fine. Someone asked me the question, almost what you said. Where are all those opportunities that you say are everywhere present? And that's proof you're working from an attitude not looking for, because what you're looking for is looking for you. So in other words, if you're not getting what you're looking for, then check what it is you're looking at. What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because that's what you're drawing to you. And if that isn't what you want, change your mind, change your world. I mean, that's the theme of all these talks, that you're given the opportunity to change your mind, change your world. And it's actually that simple. But we so complicate things that we don't remember. And that's been the only problem I've ever had, is the forgetting. A little discipline, a little thought prior to you're actually asking. See, we're told if we order our conversations aright. Now, I'm not speaking about right or wrong in the sense of natural man-mind reasoning. But you're given a choice. You get to choose. You get that? You get to actually choose your way. They themselves are makers of themselves. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And you were talking about ordering the conversation right. And what you're speaking of, to be clear for those who are listening, is direction. So what is it that you want? Begin directing your conversation accordingly, because you spoke initially about the person asking about the opportunities. But if he or she's believing that there are no opportunities, then that becomes the asking. Would you agree?
That's it. They don't ask. They forget. You see, they think that they're dependent upon what's going on in the world at the moment for them to receive or not receive what they want. But it has nothing to do with it. This is between you and the Father, you and Jesus, and they're right there with you, and they're ready to agree with you. See, God's already agreed, yes. He said, if you turn to me, I'll turn to you. So that's yes. Everything is yes, but you have to accept it as such. And it's not about worthiness, it's about willingness. Are you willing to feel after what you want religiously? I didn't mean to say it that way, but that's really it, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, we hadn't touched on it, so I'll go on it. What we're talking about today is how to think and how to get what you want. And ultimately, if you understand how to think, then you'll discover how to get what you want, because you'll begin thinking appropriately. Would you agree?
That is it. If you're thinking, you're receiving. Are you thinking what you want to be receiving? Isn't that the question?
It is.
See, that's it. They're always thinking about what they don't have. They're always thinking about what they want, but they don't have it, because you keep wanting it. Give it to God. The answer, you're told that you receive not because you ask not. Well, ask for it and then drop it. It's done. If you ask God, remember, that's who you're asking. You're asking God the Father, and He's right with you. He says, I'm with you always. I will never leave you, omnipresence. I mean, how much closer do you want to be? You are the church. You are the temple of the living God, right here, right now. And your answers are exactly fit your questions. What are your questions? Do you know? Do you really know what you want? See, that's something that it bugged me for years. I never really knew what I wanted. I just wanted something, but I didn't really know what. But to get what you want, you have to ask for it. You have to claim it. And that's what you're doing. You're actually claiming your inheritance. You are the inheritance of God's will. And all you have to do is speak it. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So does he. If you want change your mind, change your world. And it's not dependent upon anyone around you. It would be nice if everybody's on the same page, but that's rarely the case. But you're in charge if you will take charge. Isn't that the idea?
It is.
I mean, he gave you charge when he told you choose this day, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Well, then take charge. I don't know what it is that people are really afraid of, because, you see, what you're afraid of is what you're worshiping. Because if it has your attention, it has your life. That would be worshiping, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be.
And you're going to be worshiping something. You can't worship two gods, it tells you. So if you're worried, then you're not worshiping the right God. So, see, you have to sit down in the quiet once in a while and really think about these things for yourself. Because until you excite yourself, you see, then you won't actually test it. And if you don't test it, you see, then it doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't help you. And it will help you. It's what it's for. It's to help you. This is not to tell you what to think. This is to tell you that as you think, you are, you do, you have, you be. And if what you're doing, being, and having is not what you want to do, be, and have, then change it. Change your mind, change your world. The first does the second. There's really nothing laborious about it. But we go all out to make things happen, and Jesus told you very plainly that I of myself can do nothing. It is the Father within who does all the work. You understand that? He does all the work. He doesn't need your help. He does all the work. Once you ask, that's the end. That's your end of it. Now you stand on what you ask for. I am that. Now I am that because I've asked for it. And who did I ask? I asked God. Yeah, you know, that's really the problem, isn't it? They really don't believe in God.
They believe what they've been taught about God.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's exactly it. In other words, you have been conditioned by those who came before you. Now, it's up to you to decide if what you were conditioned to is for you in your life. And that's what that ceremony of coming of age is, isn't it? Thinking for yourself.
It is.
You know, I mean, so if you pass that age and you're really willing to actually feel after better than the best, then that's what we're helping you do. But you have to decide what it is you're going to think. You see, as you thinketh, God doeth. So you better be careful what you think. That's the reason you're told that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God, because he gave you whatsoever to choose from. So you can destroy yourself very, very easily, because as you think, you are. If you think wrong, then you aren't. Yeah. You know, you got to get in the right mood about thinking of this, because most people tell me that they start out for a moment in the right attitude, but suddenly it all gets kind of strange and weird, and they're thinking about all the negative things, and they wonder, wow, how did I do this? This wasn't what I started out to do. But you see, that's catching yourself. And if you catch yourself often enough, it goes away. If you refuse it often enough, it falls away. And that's what happens to your good. You refuse to pay attention to it, and so it falls away. What has your attention has your life. Come on, think about it. It's right there with you. You don't need anybody else. In fact, you're probably better off at the beginning not to even talk about it, except to yourself. Because it's as you think you are. Just look at what you think and approve of it. If you're approving of what you're thinking about, then you're going to be enjoying what you're experiencing. I mean, that sounds simple enough to me. Does it to you?
It does. It does. And I like, you stated earlier, and you said it again just a second ago, we have to be mindful of what it is that we're giving our attention to, but it's not dependent upon anyone outside of ourselves. And you said, sometimes if you start a new train of thought, it's better not to tell anyone when you entertain that new train of thought. Otherwise, they can possibly derail you from that new train of thought that you're trying to maintain. And I want to add something, that we all get derailed. We all get off track with our thinking. I was thinking about something the other night. One of my family members was ill, and I began to look for a God outside. And what I had to do is shift my thinking and begin seeing the person that I cared about as already being healed, and having a conversation from thinking from as opposed to thinking of. So my whole point to the listeners, we all can get off track. Would you agree?
Hey, we're dead. We're actually dead to what is available right in front of you. Right there. As you think you are. Now that's simple enough, but you have to be serious about looking into what it is you are thinking, because that's what you will be experiencing. You're always thinking ahead of your evidence. You're always thinking ahead of what you'll be experiencing. So if you're thinking ahead of what you think you might be experiencing, you have an opportunity to move in and change it. And when you experience it, you'll notice the change, because you made a change. Look, as you think you are. So if you're not living the life that you want to live, then you're not thinking to live the life you want to live. And that's what you want to do. You want to constantly think about the life you want to live, and it's yours now. And so from now on, you start thinking from it as being so, as you are so. That's simple. I mean, it sounds complicated, but it really isn't. It's very simple. But it takes doing it often to actually implant it in the mind as a mindset, because mindsets operate independently. I mean, anytime a situation comes up that calls for a certain mindset, it comes forth. It's automatic. But understand, your receiving is also on automatic, because the one asking you to ask is God. I mean, he's asking you. He's telling you that you receive not because you ask not, or you're asking amiss. He didn't say that you weren't receiving. You're receiving what you're requesting. But what is it that you're requesting? See, that's where you either make it or break it, right there. Wouldn't you say?
I would. And it goes back to, you said it a moment ago, you said if you begin to refuse a error thought, a negative thought, a thought that you don't want, if you do it often enough, it will fall away. In scriptures, it says, resist the devil and he will flee. The way you resist distorted, erroneous views and limitation or the devil is by shifting your thoughts towards the good that you desire, or God. Would you agree?
Yes, that's right. And look, it doesn't take any ceremonies. You just ask. You're on all the time. You understand that? You're on all the time. What are you, see, and how aware are you of what you're thinking, feelingly about? You can run off for hours in a negative mood and not really have pinned it on anything because you won't accept it, and you're the cause of it. See, everything in your world is caused by you. Everything in my world is caused by me. Everything in DeCarlo's world is caused by him. Isn't it right?
No, I didn't cause all this. No, I'm joking. It is right. It is right.
But that's what people do. They lie to themselves.
Absolutely.
Let's face it. None are worthy. So if you're worried about whether you're worthy or not, forget it. Live with it. You aren't worthy. You're worthy only by grace. And he has said, though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. But are you willing? See, that's what it's about. It's about willingness. Be willing. Be willing to sit in the silence and feel after him. He said, I'm right here with you. I mean, he knows what you have need of even before you ask, so he'd have to be pretty close, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
And I know what a hard nut that is, But really, if you keep chewing on it, it'll crack. You'll get to see it. It's just like the egg you're in. It's about ready to crack, but you have to stay with it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to stay with it. You understand? You're right on the verge. I mean, if you're listening to this and wondering if it's good or otherwise, then you're right at the door. Open the door. That knocking that you're told is going on at the door. That's your desire, looking for a way in. Everything on the without is secondhand, right? It's all secondhand. That means it was only new as idea. What ideas are you fumbling with in your mind? Because whatever you give your attention to, you're giving life to. You are the life of whatever idea you're entertaining. It means that if you're giving it life, then you're going to experience it. So if you don't want to experience it, then don't think about it because that's giving it life. You're feeding it. That is it, isn't it? Feeding
it. It is it. And we continuously feed it. And, you said something earlier. We talked about awareness and a negative mood and us being responsible. And you ultimately said, for the person that does not want to take that responsibility, we're lying to ourselves. And it really does come back to we don't want to be responsible for the things that we've manifested in our lives. We want someone else to be held accountable. Would you agree?
That's right. That's it. That's exactly what everybody's looking for, someone to hide behind. Actually, that sounds like a negative, but, actually, it's all a negative until you awake. And you're given to arouse thyself, O Lord. Why sleepest thou? He's in you, but he's asleep. And he's dreaming the dream you're dreaming. And he's following your lead. He gave you choose this day, and he makes it so. You choose it so, he makes it so. So be careful what you're choosing because he'll make it. And that's what it means when it says that you gain wisdom when you have fear of God. Well, fear of God is fear of what he says. And what he says is as you think you are. So clean it up, right?
Absolutely. And I think, like you said earlier, the key is us being more aware of what it is that we're giving life to by way of our attention. Would you agree?
Yeah. You're giving life to everything around you because you're aware of it. So what you're aware of, you're giving life to. It's as simple as that. God made it really very simple. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he, so has he. And that's repeated over and over throughout the Scriptures. In other words, you're responsible for what you're thinking. responsible. Direct it. That's what you're here to do. You're here to be a director. A director of what? As you think you are. That's what you're to direct. And no one can stop you. Man, if you're even chained to a dungeon floor, you can't stop what you're thinking. And you are in charge. You are given charge. Take it. Be it. Claim it. Because that's what you're here to do, to claim better than the best. Just keep it that simple, and maybe you'll remember it. You're here to claim better than the best, because as you think you are, you do, you have, you be. And I know I repeat all this over and over and over because I want you to actually not just skip over it real quick, because it's the answer you're looking for. Feel it. Isn't that it?
It is it. I was corresponding with someone recently, and she was saying how she really appreciated the broadcast, but often she will get off track and she will get back in that mindset of negative thinking. And what we're doing right now is giving you tools of how to think. Again, not what to think, but how thinking works. And if you stay on a negative mindset path, the only thing that you can reproduce in your world is that. Would you agree?
That's it. That's it. It's stated very clearly, isn't it? As you think you are, you do, you have. That's it. So you're in charge, but if you're not paying attention to what you're thinking, then you're always surprised. So if you want to know what you're going to be doing, just watch what you're thinking, and that's what you're going to be doing. If you don't like it, change it. That's why you were given to think ahead of the evidence. So if you don't like it, you can change it, and you're told, change your mind, change your world. Do it. See what happens. It doesn't cost you anything. We're not asking you to join anything. And the only thing there is, these talks are on, CDs?
Absolutely.
And listen to them over and over, because that's how I got it. I'm sure that's how DeCarlo got it, right?
Absolutely. Listening to teachers similar to us, whether it be Joseph Murphy or Neville or whomever, but repeatedly listening to teachers in order to change my mind and change my world. Absolutely.
Well, like I told you, I've got more than 1,000 tapes here, and I've been listening to them. In fact, I've cut out more than 20 that I'm going to send you. So the thing of it is that I'm listening to tapes that I made in '99, and I'm going, wow, I said that. You see, we so forget. We forget that we're in charge. We forget that we have a valid say. If you even think about it, you do. Think about it. You have a valid say. And I don't mean valid for ordering what you're going to have for dinner tonight. No. That too. And it is that simple. But you have to feel it to make it so. And feeling is the secret. And you're feeling this, that, and the other about all sorts of things. And that's what's happening to you. And you call it my daily experience. And you change your mind, you change your world. If you don't change your mind, you're not changing your world. It's same-o, same-o. Just wake up. That's all any of us have to do, is to wake up. But you have to be willing, you have to be looking for to find. Seek, and you shall find, it says. You're gonna, if you keep seeking, you find it. If you stop seeking, you don't find it. But you're in charge if you take charge. Isn't that it? Take charge?
Absolutely. And let's not make it difficult, listener. What I mean by that, he said it earlier, but we overcomplicate this. Take a simple step of simply changing your thought about something simple, something that you can do, that you do every day. And from there, just take note of what happens when you change your thoughts. And then another negative thought comes to mind. change it to something. Say, you know what? Okay, I just thought that was, where did that come from? And say, you know what? Let me think about blank, the weather, if it's nice, someone you love. But just a simple change of thought and you being conscious of it is going to make it easier to change the next thought. Would you agree?
That's it. That's it. Just look at it this way. Your thinking is either heaven or hell. So to bring heaven on earth, you have to stop thinking about hell. And that's the negative. You're given choose. You're given choice. Choose. Choose what you'll think about. You see, if you're not choosing, you'll be chosen for. It's like commercials on television. It's always right in front of you. We're blind to it until we have an interest. You see, it all starts with a hunger to know. You want to know first person. And that's what we're looking for, people who want to know first person. No more just hearsay. Hearsay has its place, and it does wonderful things, but it does awful things. So you're given to choose to direct your inner thinking feelingly, because subconscious mind is going to create your world in exact detail. Think about it, in exact detail. Whatever you're thinking about. If it's lovely and of good report, as you're instructed to think only on things lovely and of good report, because that gives you the good life. But if you're thinking on negatives, well, then that's going to be your life. Choose this day. Isn't that the question?
Absolutely. And you said it. You know, it says we're looking for people that will take on experiencing this first person. Because the only thing that you're going to get with hearsay is someone else's first-hand experience, but it's not going to ever be yours. And you'll never grow from someone else's experience. It's not until you implement what it is that we're talking about. And so that basically becomes a process of, as Linda will often say, discipline, but practice, practice, practice. And we're not saying do this 24/7, but just be mindful when those moments come to redirect your thoughts to something more lovely. Would you agree?
Yes. Yes. You know, really, you covered it. You covered it right there. You know, it's as you're thinking all day long. What are you thinking about? I mean, sit down and be quiet and think about it. What am I thinking about today? And then look at what you've experienced today and what you'll be setting yourself up with tomorrow is what you're thinking about today. So, you see, you're in charge, but if you're not paying attention, then you're not in charge, but you're still in charge because you're the one who's thinking, and that's your world of experiencing. So if you see it like that, it'll cause you to think, well, you know, maybe I better watch what I'm thinking because, you know, whatever you're putting out for someone else, you're also giving to yourself. So if they're not going to like it, you aren't either. As a man thinketh in his heart, male, female, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he, so has he. So you're in charge. Just take charge, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I want to add this. One of the biggest deceptions that you're telling yourself is that I can't control my thinking. It's an outright lie. You do it all the time. You're just not conscious of doing it. What we're asking you to do is do it more aware. Would you agree?
That's it. That's it. It's all about being aware. Whatever you're aware of is in your world. Whatever you're not aware of isn't in your world. You're actually on all the time. And you're receiving all the time because you're praying ceaselessly. That's right, without stopping. Without stopping. You're praying ceaselessly. Every word we're told. Every word is taken into culmination to make up your daily experiences.